Okay, welcome everyone. Today's topic is new wholesaling techniques, how to become the best wholesaler. So we have a special guest tonight, Dan Clarton, the best wholesaler in the area. And now he's going to apply new techniques to the new crisis that we're facing. So we're super excited to have you, Dan. Thank you for joining today. We are so much looking forward to hearing everything that you are doing today, overcoming the crisis in wholesaling. So thank you, Dan, and the floor is yours.
Awesome. Well, first of all, thanks for having me. And, first and foremost, I guess, with everything going on in this world, wholesaling is, a great thing to do, but we got to take care of our mental health. We got to be eating right. We got to be getting some exercise. We got to, we got to keep ourselves together because the mental state is as important as the techniques and as the, the things that we're trying to do in real estate. So, looks like we got a bunch of people on here, and I'm trying to see. So I can't pretend to know who's all on here and what level of experience anybody has. So fundamentally, Hugo, let's kind of ham and egg it here a little bit. Would it be safe to say that the folks on this call are understand what wholesaling is, what the nuts and bolts of how to do a transaction, how that works?
Yes, but if we can spend just a minute or two just explaining the super basics, just to make sure that we start on the same level.
Yeah, no, of course. I mean, so listen, wholesaling, as many of you know, is often pitched as the gateway drug to real estate, right? Because we don't need any money, we don't need any brains, we don't need any effort, we don't need any credit. And, first of all, let's dispel that myth right away, because most of that's completely nonsense. If you're going to be in a business and you're going to run a business, we all know that in order to make money, you've got to spend money. And if anybody knows businesses where I can make money without putting some of my own money at risk, I'd like to be involved in that, so let me know. But for the sake of real estate, there's a little niche that fits in that represents maybe 5% of all the real estate transactions. And those are the transactions that typically involve distressed properties. And what you'll find is the distress normally comes one of three places. Either the home itself is in distress, it's been neglected, and the roof is shot, and the plumbing leaks, and the list goes on and on. It could be as bad as that, or frankly, it could just be, a decent house that has good bones, that just really hasn't been updated. It's perfectly functional. There isn't any reason that you couldn't live there. And, probably 95% of the world would give their left arm to live in this kind of luxury. But we live in a place and time in our country and in our market where if it's not granite countertops and stainless steel appliances, people poo-poo it. So those houses are in desperate need of a update and a refresh, and those properties often fall in our lap. Secondly, you have people that are in distress. Could be, job loss, and today that number is about 22 million. The difference here is that we're hoping and anticipating that this is going to be temporary. And that we're going to get back to work as a country here soon. But the ripple effect of, foreclosures and things like that are probably, I got to think they're going to be probably 9 months out, because for the next 3 months, there aren't going to, they're not doing foreclosures. They're not evicting people. And, everyone is still in a place where we're trying to work together as a society. That could change in the future. And then lastly, of course, you have circumstantial distress. Sometimes the house is fine, the people's state of mind is fine, but maybe circumstantially, there's been a death in the family and they have an inherited house or a probate situation, or maybe it's a divorce or something that's causing people to need to move a property sooner rather than later. The telltale sign when you're speaking to a homeowner of whether or not you have a potential wholesale opportunity on your hand is typically by asking a lot of questions. And the questions that are important to building rapport have to do with, beds and bathrooms and what's the condition and how old is the furnace and things of the nature. But for the purposes of determining whether or not we might have something to work with, the couple questions that I like to always keep in my back pocket are, well, number one, why are you selling? What's causing you to need to sell the home at this time? And listen to see what people say. And behind that, equally important, is what's the time frame in which you'd like to see the house sold? Oftentimes, we do a lot of direct marketing, and people will call and say, hey, I got your postcard and you're buying houses. How does this work? And typically we'll talk to them and we'll ask them, how soon they'd like to sell or what's the timeline. And many times they'll say, well, we're in no real hurry. And it's been my experience that when people aren't in any kind of hurry, that there really wouldn't be any reason for them to sell the house, frankly, at a price that we're going to need to buy it for. So the wholesale formula, and it moves a little from, area to area and certainly city to city if you're doing things on a national basis. But, the kind of the foregone recipe that wholesalers try to work off of is a 70% mark. So we want to do some research on the property, and we want to understand in this market, this house shining like a new penny, all fixed up, what could it possibly sell for? And it's best not to be overly optimistic. Let's not pick what's the absolute most it can sell for, because we're not in the business, or rehabbers aren't in the business of leaving houses sit on the market month after month, hoping to wring an extra $10,000 or $5,000 out of them. So the whole idea for your end customer, because as a wholesaler, you're not going to close, you're going to dish this property off to either a buy and hold investor that's going to hold it as a rental in their portfolio, or you're going to sell it to a fix and flip investor who's looking to buy it, invest more money to make it nicer, and turn around and resell it. And in that case, the formula to do that is you want to have the nicest house in the little neighborhood at or below the prices of the other ones, so that if somebody's looking to live in that neighborhood, they come over, they go to 4 or 5 houses, and they are just absolute certain that your house is the no-brainer because it's the nicest and it's not any more expensive or much more expensive proportionately than the other properties available. So the blocking and tackling then is 70%. Then we want to determine what the repairs are going to be. So when we're looking at these properties, we have to make mental notes of what's the condition and how much money is going to need to be spent in order to put it into kind of condition that it's going to need to be in, if in fact it's going to be sold at the highest retail price available. And that's about the price where your end buyer is going to want to purchase that property. So as a wholesaler, our ability to make money is the gap between that price and the price that we're able to get it under contract with the seller. Okay. Some of you on this call might ask yourself, well, who in the heck would willingly sell their house for less than it's worth? That's a fair question, right? And the reality is that anybody here that's ever bought a car from a car dealership where you drove your car over there and picked out a different one, whether it be new or used, I'm showing my age today, they would say pre-driven. So whether you buy a pre-driven car or a new one, and you leave with theirs, and you leave the one that you drove with that dealership, congratulations. You just sold your car for less than it's worth, because the dealer is most cases is going to add no value other than run it through the car wash and maybe detail the interior to shine it up a little bit. And they're going to turn around and they're going to put it right out on the front lot, and they're going to sell it for, several $1,000s in many cases, more than they gave you for it. So the reason we do that in our personal life is because we like the idea of speed and convenience, right? And we don't want people coming to our house. We don't want to be posting our car on Craigslist. We don't want to subject ourselves to scammers and all this stuff. So it's just easier to just leave it with a professional that is in the car business. Well, frankly, we find that homeowners, in some cases, feel the same way. Maybe they don't want their neighbors to know what's going on. Maybe it's they've had, for the sake of our business, sometimes realtors can be our best friend, because maybe they've called a realtor, and on a distressed property, many times a realtor will come over and tell them all the things that need to be done so that they can sell the house. And it starts with easy things like cleaning out the closet. And sometimes it gets into painting and repairing the deck and doing this and doing that. And the reality is, oftentimes those things cost money. And a lot of times people looking to sell a house, they don't have the money to do that, nor do they have the wherewithal to conduct interviews with contractors and get bids and go through all that. And many times we get a phone call and they go, "Can't I just sell my house the way it is?" And we say, "Of course you can," right? So that's where investors come into the picture. So we want to get a house under the contract. We're going to market it out to our cash buyers. And then we're going to call Investors Title Services, and we're going to get it closed. And we can talk more about maybe the closing part later, but that's a critical piece of the puzzle, particularly as a wholesaler, because our market works a little bit differently than many others. And if you're on the national circuit of gurus and people on YouTube telling you how to, in fact, do wholesaling, they're all going to tell you to go find an investor-friendly title company. And in our market, the title company is secondary to the attorneys that you're going to work with, because this is an attorney-driven area. So the attorneys are driving the closings, and the attorneys are driving where those closings are happening. And so if you're going to wholesale a deal, you're going to want to make sure that your deal is in the hands of somebody that understands the transaction and how it's to be done and how your interests in that property are protected. And so my business partner, Joe Mueller, and I, aside from owning Investor Title Services, we are wholesalers, and we hold rental properties, and we do flips. So we understand all the different aspects of the business. And it's important that you close your deals with people that understand what you're doing and have the means to facilitate those type of deals, because they're different than normal retail deals. So that said, now we're talking about, in this market, how things are different or how things are the same in terms of doing deals. I'm happy to tell you that today I got a wire into our account on a wholesale deal in a property in Birmingham, Alabama. And I never saw the property. I never met the owner. I never met the end buyer. I never met the attorney. And yet we found a house for $10,000, and we turned around and we wholesaled it for $15,000. So we made $5,000 on that deal. So I think what's changing is that the expectation of being belly to belly and face to face with sellers which is always the default. And I think that's always the best way, because that's the best way to build rapport. Because when you're building rapport with somebody, it's a look, a word, a touch, and communication isn't just what you hear verbally. Facial expressions, personality, how you say things, and those things are always taken differently when you're in person. And anybody that doesn't, believe that to be true, think back of any texts or email exchanges that you've had with anybody where the message you gave was received out of context, or vice versa. And you're like, no, that's not what I meant. I meant this. So sometimes when you're in person, you can eliminate some of that stuff. But on a national level, Zillow and these other iBuyer type programs during this pandemic have all kind of, came to a screeching halt. So that just opens up the opportunity, I think, for us, because those companies, in many cases, have spent a lot of marketing and advertising dollars, letting the consumer public know that it's okay and perfectly acceptable to sell your house cash and to sell it to an investor and to do business in that way. So now that they've helped educate the consumer public and they've backed out of the situation, they've just left the opportunity open for us. The critical piece of all these wholesale deals is getting contracts. And in order to get a contract, certainly you're going to have to do some marketing. And there's a variety of channels to do that, whether it be direct mail, whether it be bandit signs, ringless voicemail, cold calling, sending text messages. There's plenty of ways to market yourself to grab a seller's attention. The second piece of the puzzle is going to be call intake. And this is a critical piece because the impression somebody has of you and or your business happens in as fast as 4 seconds. So all those things they talk about, maybe stand up when you're talking to people, have a little bounce in your step, be smiling, be happy. Those things, you can read those things through the phone. And it's important that you're the bright part of these people's day, because a lot of times the people that are going to be calling you, let's face it, they have a situation and they need help. And I've said it before, and I'll continue to say it for those of you that have heard me before, but being a wholesaler and buying houses, being a professional house buyer and putting houses under contract, to a large degree, has nothing to do with real estate and it has nothing to do with houses. That's merely the widget and that's merely the byproduct. At the end of the day, we are in the people business, and people do business with people they like. And how you handle people and the empathy that you show towards their situation, which, again, empathy, not sympathy, right? We're not in the business of taking other people's problems and making them our problems. But we are in the business of trying to meet people where they're at, coming alongside them, and helping them cross the chasm from where they are to a better place for themselves and their family. And on a good day, God willing, we make a profit by being involved in the transaction. I think it's important in my world to offer disclosure. What we're doing is not some sneakery. We're not trying to pull the wool over anybody's eyes. We're not trying to steal the equity out from somebody's grandma and steal their house from them. When we talk to sellers, I'm happy to tell them why I'm interested in the property, what the likely outcome is of my involvement in the property, which is largely either A, we're going to buy it, we're going to make an additional investment into it, it's going to be our goal to restore it to its former glory, and we're going to put it back on the market and sell it with the hope and expectation of making a profit for our effort. Secondly, we might like to buy it and make some repairs and freshen things up a little bit. And we like the area, we like the school district, we like its proximity to parks and train stations and what have you. So maybe we're going to think about holding it in our rental portfolio. And then thirdly, frankly, we can't always keep all the houses that we buy. And we are, house buyers for other investors. There's investors that have full-time jobs. They work downtown. They work long hours. They're looking for opportunities. And the good news for you, seller, is that unlike a traditional listing, and if you worked with a realtor where you're going to pay a commission, when you work with our company, when we agree on the price, that's the price you're going to get. And if there's going to be any money made, another way by dishing it off to somebody else, they're going to pay us, not you. And it's important that you set that expectation that you might not close on it yourself, because if you're strictly wholesaling, you're absolutely not going to be closing on it yourself. And to set up a big expectation of when you buy the house and all the great things you're going to do, and then the seller gets to the closing table and you're not there, and their well-intentioned attorney points out that, oh yeah, that nice young lady that you sold the house to, yeah, she sold it to this person and made $15,000. And if that hits somebody over the head for the first time at the closing table, that can be a problem, because they feel like they've been hoodwinked. They feel like they've been lied to. They feel like they've been misled. And, that's not good. So sometimes people say, well, gee, I don't really want to say anything like that because, what if that's going to be a problem? What if that's going to kind of ruin the deal? And my answer to that is I'd certainly rather know that that's going to be a problem now before I go through all the effort of marketing the property and finding a buyer and scheduling a closing and doing all those things, only to have it blow up at the closing table. So if it's going to be a problem, let's put it out. Let's talk about it. Let's work our way through it. And you'll find that oftentimes the sellers are going to be your cheerleader. They want you to succeed, because if you succeed, they succeed. Quick story, seller in Round Lake had a property. A guy and his wife bought the property for $65,000 a couple years ago, and got behind on the taxes. They were going to lose it to taxes. The guy's wife had some major medical issues that drained the owners of their life savings, and they had paid cash for the house when they bought it, and had another investor call us and say, hey, there might be an opportunity here for you. There isn't anything we can do to make it work for us, because they're straight flippers and they don't like the property. So we went out there, we met with the owner, and we take him down the path. Gee, have you thought about listing it? Yeah, no, we can't do that. My wife, it's too upsetting to have, people coming through the house and all that. We can't do that. They wanted to move, so they certainly, behind on taxes, so they really weren't in a position to hold it and rent it out themselves. And this house, the embankments, it was a corner house. So on the front of the house and on the side of the house, the embankment was steeply pitched that any water or snow melt off is coming right at the house. And you could see all the deterioration in the foundation. We got down to the basement, and the cinder block wall was buckling in. And I'm like, holy cow. I'm like, was it like this when you bought it? And he said, no, it was all, drywall down here. So I don't know if it was like that or not, but we got water down here. When we tore everything out, this is what we found. So in that case, I just had to be honest with this person. I said, listen, this house doesn't really work for us. And as much as we'd like to buy it, it just doesn't fit into our business model. That said, much in the same way that school bus drivers probably know other school bus drivers, and accountants know accountants, and things of that nature. I said, it just so happens that we know other real estate investors. So we can't, be marketing your property. Uh, that's brokering without a license. So we're going to need to put a contract on it, which is going to give us an equitable interest in your property. And we're going to put it out to our network of people. Well, I know it was important that your wife not be disturbed. So we're going to try to round up everybody that has interest in the property. And we're going to have you, have all the investors and people we work with and contractors, etc., come over here one time, and hopefully we'll find somebody that wants to take this project on so that we can get you out from under this thing. Our goal, of course, is to get you out of this. We are hoping to make some money, but in a case like that, frankly, if we were able to get this seller out from under the house, and if it meant we didn't make a dime, that would have been okay, because we're in the people helping business. So sometimes you win big, sometimes you win a little, and sometimes you just have to do what you have to do to help somebody from where they are to get to a better place. And that kind of authenticity and that kind of care, I think, comes through when you talk to people. I mean, sellers, they can tell the people that are just looking at their house like it's a piece of meat and they're going to make a bunch of money off of it. And that people don't like the way that makes them feel. So again, we're in the people business. So, in an effort to build rapport with people, and it starts with a phone call and it ends when you're with them in person, and it's hard to do, especially for me, because I'll talk it up all day with somebody, but it's really important that you're leading them down a line of questioning that allows them to do 80 to 90% of the talking. So the whole idea is that we're trying to connect with people, and the person that's talking is the one that's doing the connecting. So if you're with somebody, you're talking, you go, wow, that person's really nice, or I really like them. You might not really know anything about them, but they were nice enough to sit and listen to you. And everybody likes to talk about themselves. And so you might feel connected to them. They might not feel so connected to you. So it's important to ask questions, ask follow-up questions. If you don't know about the mirroring technique, learn about that. But in simple terms, it's merely repeating the last 2 to 3 words of what somebody says, which with a pause usually encourages them to continue on talking more about that. And if you'd like a visual, try to envision that you're sitting at a table across from somebody, and there's a pendant light that's hanging from the ceiling, and the bulb head is on a swivel, and it swivels back and forth, and whoever the light is shining on is the most important person at that table, and it's your goal is to have the light shining on your seller as much as you possibly can. But in this market, when we're not supposed to be leaving the house, doing things on the phone is perfectly acceptable. Contracts can be signed via many different electronic signature platforms. DocuSign is one, Dotloop is another, HelloSign is a third one, and I'm sure if you Google it, there's a whole bunch more. I don't know that any of them are any better than the other one. Usually the one you're using is the best one because it's the one you use and it's the one you understand. So check the pricing, see how they work, and I'd get yourself lined up with that. And it's perfectly acceptable to talk to sellers and get a contract over the phone. You might ask them for pictures if they can supply them. And some of those things are little tests, right? Like they say they want to sell the house. You say, hey, gee, by the way, would you be able to take some pictures so I can get a better idea of what, the kitchen and bathroom, etc. And if they can't quite get around to that, or they say they can't do it, what I hear them non-verbally saying to me is they're really not that motivated, and they're going to be difficult to work with, and they're not going to be very cooperative to other things that we're going to require, like getting buyers into the house and things like that. So, I think we can all agree, if somebody has a house that you're going to buy for under $150,000, and you told them you'd give them $1 million, but you need pictures, they'd find a way to take pictures, wouldn't they? So if they're not willing to do some of those things, that just means that maybe they don't trust you yet. Maybe they don't like the price yet. Maybe they're not comfortable with you yet. So, just keep working on it. In this market right now, if anybody that's been doing any marketing or, over the past period of time, frankly, I would dig up every phone number of any potential seller that I've talked to in the last 6 months minimum, and depending on how many of those you have, go back a year. Because people's situations change on a daily basis. Anybody here that's ever gotten a horrible medical diagnosis or a pink slip or anything like that, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You're going along in life, everything's going great, and one little event happens and it changes everything. And so anybody that happened to call you at any point in the past was possibly thinking about selling. Maybe your offer wasn't right at the time, but it's a new day right now. And it's a good opportunity to check in with people. Do you still have the house? Is there anything I can help you with? How can we work together? People like the idea of working together. It's not me against you then that way. And ask questions. How much do you need for the house? What's standing, how do we work together? Explain your business. Explain to them that you need to make a profit. Explain to them how the money is laid out. People aren't against you making money. When you bought a house that you lived in and you worked with a realtor, I know the realtor was going to make money, right? And yet you still worked with them. And in most things in life, people realize that if people are going to do something, they're going to make money one way or the other. So just be open about it. Oftentimes people say, well, how much are you going to give me? And there's a lot of ways to dance around that, but sometimes I just ask them, how much do you need? And the smart people, or the ones that think they're so smart, they don't want to give that number, because the old adage is whoever gives the first number loses, because that sets the anchor, and then that's the number that you're working off of. And I tell people, listen, the reason I'm asking you what you need is because if you be willing to tell me, I can assure you that one of two things is going to happen. Either A, I'm going to give you the price that you're asking for. I've done it before, and I've done it more than once. Or if I can't do that, then I'm going to treat you with enough courtesy and respect to explain my position and how my business works and why I can't pay that much. That doesn't mean that we're going to be a good fit, and it doesn't mean we're going to work together, but I just would rather have you have a little peek behind the curtain to see what I do and how I do it, rather than just give you some insulting offer out of right field that you can't get your arms around. How did I possibly come up with such a lousy offer, right? So most of the things that you do in this, try to think of yourself and how would you want to be treated, and how would you like people to, handle you in these kind of situations. And if you do that, I think that's, will point you in the right direction. In case you didn't notice, I'm not really working off of any script or any note cards. So this is just kind of random all over the place. We have a chat box open. Does anybody have any questions or anything that I can possibly answer regarding any of this? Or the way I do business anyways? Doesn't make it right, but I'm happy to tell you what I do. Or does anybody have an open mic? Or I see a lot of people don't have their video on. Nobody took a shower today?
You know what would be really awesome? Well, people still type some of the questions, Dan. If we can do a role play, I see a lot of seasoned investors like Rashid, Linda Merrick. That'll be awesome if we can just quickly do a role play, them acting as the seller and you being obviously the investor, trying to build rapport, make get more information as to what they truly need. Is that possible? Linda, would you be able to volunteer? Rashid, anybody on the line who would like to go very quick, a 1 or 2 minute conversation would be great.
Who wants to play ball?
Or Tommy, I see you on the line. Tommy is a very seasoned investor.
See, Tommy, that's what happens when you turn your video on.
Yeah, lucky me.
How you doing, buddy? Good to see you.
Hey,
I'm doing great, Dan. Thank you.
Perfect. So if we can just quickly do it, adjusting your script down to the current crisis, right? Because we cannot make an appointment, perhaps, as you said. Let's just give it a try and see how it goes. Thank you, Tommy, for volunteering.
So Tommy's got a house that he wants to sell?
I do. Just
All
lost
right,
my job to the coronavirus.
So hold on. So you, why are you calling me? You saw a sign, you got a postcard, you saw my online presence. How did you find out about us?
I got your postcard, Dan. I got it in the mail the other day.
All right. So you got a postcard. So ring, ring. Hello.
Hey, it's Tommy Schrey. I got your postcard in the mail the other day. Possibly?
Hold on. You froze up. I couldn't hear you.
Is
Say it again.
Dan?
Yes.
Is this Dan?
It is.
Hey, Dan, my name is Tommy Schrey. I got a postcard from you the other day in the mail about maybe buying my house.
Fantastic. Thanks for calling. What led you to call me today?
Well, I just I lost my job a couple weeks ago because of this coronavirus thing, and my company might not recuperate from this, and I don't know what's going to happen. My wife still has her job, but obviously, with my job, I was a major breadwinner in the household, and I don't think we're going to be able to afford the mortgage payments. I mean, I got a forbearance, but I don't think we're going to be able to recuperate. So I don't know what we're going to do. I mean, I've got equity in the house, but I don't think we're going to be able to get out of this. So I think we're going to have to sell the house. So
what kind of work do you do?
I was in IT, but the company wasn't in great shape anyways. So I don't know what I'm going to do when this ends. So I don't know.
So
we want to downsize anyways. The kids are out of the house anyways. The kids are out of college. They're on with their families. So we have a big house, 4-bedroom. We need a smaller house anyways.
Sure. Have you thought about calling a realtor and listing it a traditional way?
We were thinking about it. I mean, we haven't done a lot of upgrading to the house. I mean, we've been in the house for about 30 years now.
Oh my.
The house isn't in bad shape, but we haven't done any updating and stuff. I mean, we would probably have to sink a pretty good amount of money into it to update it in today's standards.
If you were going to do that and they handed you a blank check, how much do you think you'd have to spend in order to get it to the condition that you think it needs to be in?
Oh, I don't know. If I had to venture a guess, I don't know. If I see the fancy stuff that's on the market today, I don't know, probably between $30,000 and $50,000 when I see the stuff I see. When I get those realtor sheets that the realtors send out in the postcards and they show the fancy houses they list and stuff,
Right.
$30,000 to $40,000 or $50,000.
It sounds like you have a stable, good house that maybe just needs some cosmetic updating. Does that describe your house?
Yeah, I mean I've kept up with the mechanicals all work, the plumbing and stuff, and the furnace works. I mean, it's older. The roof's in decent shape. I mean, we had the roof replaced probably about 11 years ago after a hailstorm, so the roof's in decent shape. The furnace still works. The water heater I replaced probably about 9 years ago because I wanted a better water heater.
Mm-hmm. Have you considered just
And the
holding it and
cabinets
renting it out to
are the
somebody?
same. Nah, I don't want the hassle. My wife and I don't want that hassle. We don't want to do that kind of stuff.
Okay.
I'm in my goal. I'm approaching my golden years. I want to enjoy those. I don't want to hassle. That kind of hassle.
Sure. Well, so here's the thing. Our process, we haven't worked together before, but our process is pretty simple. We probably like to come out, take a look at the house. When you work with us, of course, there won't be any realtor commissions, and we're going to buy the house as is. One of the things people seem to like is that, particularly when you've been there as long as you've been there, a lot of times you go to move, and particularly when you're downsizing, you're like, what are we going to do with all this stuff? And
We got a lot of that.
one of the nice things is we just tell you to take the things you want and all the rest of it, leave it behind, and we'll take care of it.
We don't got to pack it. We don't got to pack that stuff up or throw it out.
Nope. Take what you want and leave the rest behind.
Oh, it's cool.
Here's the thing, though, Tom. I need to tell you this probably before I come out, but you have to realize that we're not going to live in the property, and so because of that, we have to treat it as an investment of sorts, and so we have to work it in a way that it's going to be a win-win for all of us. But generally speaking, the people that sell us houses are typically willing to forego some equity in exchange for speed and convenience. Does that sound fair?
Yeah, I mean, okay. I'd have to see what the numbers look like, but that sounds fair.
Of course. Did you have a number in mind? How much do you need to get out of the house?
I don't even know. I mean, I haven't looked at what homes are selling for in this area. I haven't even looked at it. I mean, I just lost my job a few weeks ago. I have no idea what the market's looking at right now.
What's your time frame on all this? I mean, if I could circle a date on the calendar where you'd be out of the house and you'd have a check, what day would that be?
Probably pretty quickly now. I mean, we've been thinking about downsizing anyways, and now with this happening, I think we have no reason to stay at this point. If we can move in the next 30 to 60 days, we'd move right away.
Okay. Is there anybody else involved in the decision besides you and your wife?
No.
Okay.
No.
Well, in order to make our time most productive, it'd be best if she could be there with you and I to discuss the property. Would that be okay?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we could see you as early as this Saturday if that works for you guys.
Okay. And before I come out, if we can find a price that we're both kind of miserably happy about when I'm out there, would you be in a position to move forward at that time?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. So you said Saturday would be good. Are you thinking more like 9, 10 in the morning, or maybe 2, 3 in the afternoon, which would work better for you?
No, we get up early. We have to let the dogs out in the morning, so we're up
Okay.
early anyways.
So you want to call it 9 o'clock?
Yeah, 9 o'clock's fine.
All right.
Want coffee?
On Friday night evening, rather, is it okay that I shoot you a text and just confirm our time together for Saturday?
Yeah, absolutely. That'd be great.
All right, terrific. Well, I'm looking forward to meeting you and your wife, and I'm optimistic that we'll be able to work together.
I look forward to meeting you, Dan. Thank you.
All right. Thanks for calling.
Okay, bye-bye.
Whoa, that was awesome, guys. Thank you very much, Tommy. Dan, you guys were incredible. Please, everyone, give a big round of applause to Tommy and Dan. That was just awesome. The good thing is we're recording these, so you do need to take notes of everything that went into the conversation. But it was just incredible how we were able to witness how Dan was able to listen to Tommy's needs. What exactly is he looking for? What's happening? What's changing his life So he was able to build rapport. He asked open-ended questions to get to know the seller. Not only that, but he was able to strike a great conversation and make an appointment to go see the property. So that was just incredible. I was blown away.
So now let's break it down a little further.
Yes.
Some of what we wanted to do there was get some commitment and expectation of who's going to be there when I get there, because you don't want to drive 45 minutes and go meet with somebody and they show you the house and you go through the whole thing and then you start talking about the price and they go, well, I'm going to have to, I'm going to have to get with my brother about all this, so I can't really, say yes or no here today. Right. So I wanted to find out that all the right people that were involved in the decision were going to be there. Secondly, I wanted to get some commitment, not saying that we would, but if we could find a price that we could agree on, would there be any reason not to move forward? So again, setting some expectation. Now, that doesn't mean we'll get to the right price, and that doesn't mean that I'll like the house. But, when I get there, I'm probably going to reiterate some of that stuff, remind them how this is going to go. Hey, listen, thanks for inviting me over. Here's how this is going to go. I'd like you to take me for a little walk around the house and show me what's what. And all along the way, I'll be chatting it up with the seller. And then when we're done, I'd like to sit down and talk about, what we might be able to do here together. So that way, because remember, this is what we do. Most people have never sold a house in this fashion before. They probably worked with a realtor and they got a phone call that said, hey, we have some people coming over at 7 o'clock. You need to be out of the house for 45 minutes. But, you have to kind of put yourself in their frame of mind. I mean, I'm some stranger that Tommy talked to for, 5 minutes. And now I'm coming to their house. And in today's day and age, a lot of people are a little cautious on who they're opening the front door for. So, when you get to the house, make sure after you knock on the door, you stand back far enough that they can see you out the window. Try to appear as non-threatening as possible, right? Things like that. The other thing that Tommy, said he had a dog, so that didn't really, wasn't really a tell for me. But oftentimes when we're going to set an appointment, I like to offer a couple of different times because frankly, I don't care which time, but all the little things I'm doing here is I'm trying to test for some motivation. And, if I said, hey, 9 or 10 in the morning or 2 or 3 in the afternoon, I'm hoping they pick the first time. Because if it's the first time, it seems like this is a little more pressing, a little more urgent, and it's something that's important to them to take care of sooner rather than later. It's not, nothing's 100%. These are just little things that I kind of pay attention for.
Hey, Dan, can I mention one thing too?
Sure, of course.
One of the things that Dan taught me at another conversation he's done before is that he likes to remind them to tell him again why he's there. What's the pain and why he's there to help them with that pain? What's his solution? Because I've heard him do that before, and I think it's so powerful when they have to reiterate to him why he's there to help them, because that's a reminder why it's so important that he's there. And I think that's so powerful.
Right. And then another good thing, and if you notice, I took Tommy down the path of other options. Hey, have you thought about calling a realtor and listing it? And he said, no. We slide that aside. Hey, have you thought about renting it out to somebody? Yeah, no, we don't want to do that. The only one that I didn't ask him that I would have liked to was say, hey, it sounds like it needs some updating. So first of all, let me tell you why I didn't ask him. Because of the time frame and because he's looking to have the money in 30 to 60 days, it's not going to allow for that. But in other situations, I might ask people, I did ask him how much did he think it was going to cost to have the work done. So what I did there psychologically is I set a trap, because oftentimes what you'll find is that a seller maybe on the heels of a conversation with a realtor where they suggest the laundry list of work that needs to be done in order to sell the house, they happen to call a contractor or two and get pricing to have all this work done. And when Tommy told me 50,000, that's his number. That's a valid number to him. I might look at the house and go, geez, we can get this done for 25 or 30 with our resources and our price points on materials and our labor prices. So then later when we're working on the price and I'm explaining how I got to buy, we're going to buy it for this much. We got to put this much into it, which is why I got to buy it at this price. That 50,000 he offered to me, I'm going to use that later to arrive at my price. So the third thing around that then is I would say, hey, gee, if I think they have time, I'd say, have you ever considered, calling a couple contractors and having all this work done? I mean, if you do, you'll be able to sell the house for a lot more money, to which normally they're going to tell me why they're not going to do that either. So at the point where they don't want to call a realtor, they don't want to rent it out, and they don't want to fix it up themselves, then what's the only logical solution? Selling it to me, because there are no other options, right? The other thing about asking, for some commitment when you come out, because I don't like to drive half hour, 45 minutes to go to somewhere, spend 2 hours there, and then have to drive 45 minutes home. And the conversation ends with them saying, well, I got to think about it. You got to think about it. What are you possibly thinking about? You've been thinking about selling this house for quite some time. I'm all the way here. What are we thinking about? So there's some things we say and do to kind of move people past that. But, usually the I'll think about it is not that hard to overcome. Did you have anything else, Hugo?
It was just incredible. Thank you for breaking down the, the strategies that you, and how you took Tommy down the path to the point that you're going to go meet him and his wife, meaning the decision makers.
Right.
So no, that was just awesome. So we have a lot of questions on the line. Dan, if you could please just scroll up in the chat. I know there are 2 questions that I'll be able to answer towards the end. So someone is asking, where do we get the leads from? And then where do we get the cash buyers from to do the wholesaling? So I'm going to cover those.
Go ahead.
Because we have them all in DealVault. So I can cover them towards the end. But if you want to cover the rest of the questions, there are
Sure.
Quite a lot.
Are you good? You're going to talk about where the leads come from?
Yeah, I'm going to talk about that towards the end. So once you answer the rest of the questions, that'll be great.
See. Okay. All right. So let's see. Any examples of a tough seller where the deal still worked out? Sure. I bought a house in Schaumburg. The people called me 2 years after I sent them a letter or postcard, and I got a call, hey, are you still looking to buy the house? I said, of course I am. And I asked, what's the situation? Well, the situation was, it was their family's house. Mom lived there. Mom died. The sister had been living in the house for the last 3 years. The brother lived up in northern Michigan, and he was coming down this weekend because they were going to sell the house. So does anybody understand what's going on there? Because I did immediately. I go, yeah, they got to sell the house, okay, because that house has value, and that house is an inheritance, and this guy can't get his hands on any of the money from that house with his sister living there. So the only way he gets money is he's got to get her out so they can sell it. So that's what was going on. So I came down, and he came down for the weekend, and I called it, and I asked him, what time what time would we like to get together? And he said, well, he said, I have a realtor coming over. I go, great. What time is that going to be? He goes, well, they're coming at 10 o'clock. I go, how long do you think they're going to stay? He goes, I don't know, probably an hour maybe. I go, yeah, probably. I go, well, I'm going to be over in that neighborhood, later in the day anyways. You think it'd be okay if I stop by around noon or 12:30? He goes, yeah, that'd be great. Do you have any idea why I was going to be in that neighborhood later that day? Because I was coming over to see his house. That's why. So I told him I was going to be over there. I came over and, we went through everything, and it was the guy and his sister, and they wanted to think about it. And I said, well, usually by this point in the conversation, there's really only 3 reasons that you're not jumping across the table to get the pen out of my hand to sign before I change my mind. And that's because either one, Frank, you just don't like me. They go, oh, no, we like you fine. No, that's fine. I said, okay, so that's one, push that aside. I said, well, maybe secondly, the reason might be that, I really didn't explain the process of what happens next. If you go ahead and sign, and then we're going to open escrow at the title company, and we're going to start, preparing all the docs and doing the title search and, getting everything ready for closing. I really didn't explain any of that, did I? That's my fault. They go, no, we know that stuff happens. I go, well, then the only other reason would be the price. I thought, didn't we agree? I forgot the price of that house, but didn't we agree on like $165,000? And they go, yeah, well, we were just hoping to get a little more. And I go, yeah, I can appreciate that. I go, listen, it's my goal to try to give you as much as I possibly can for the property, all the way up to the point where it becomes a financial liability for me by doing so. How far apart do you think we are? And they're like, well, can you do this much? And I go, yeah, that's really more than I can do. I can come up a little bit if that's going to make a difference. And they said, well, we have, another realtor coming over, because if we can't get it sold this weekend, then we're just going to go ahead and list it. They go, of course, he called. I went there on Friday. He was in town for a 3-day weekend, and he wanted to know if he could get back to me. I said, well, you can. They go, but here's the thing. Sadly, the offer has to leave when I do, because, other people call me, and I don't have any houses to see yet today, but I have 2 tomorrow and I have 1 on Sunday. And if I happen to like any of those houses and I'm able to come to an agreement on a price with any of those, I don't have an unlimited supply of money. And if I agree on one of those, then I won't be able to buy yours. So, I like your house. I still have the money to do it, and I'd like to do it. But, if that's not going to work for you, I said, I'll tell you what. I said, we've been here talking for quite a while. I'm sure I have some, voicemails and emails to attend to. How about this? I'm going to head out to the car, and I'll, start doing some of that stuff. And, I'll give you, whatever you think you need, 10, 15 minutes for you guys to talk it over. And when you're ready for me to come back in, just blink the lights and I'll come back in. And so I went back in, and they said, well, you said you could come up a little bit. How far can you come up? And I think I came up maybe 5,000. And they said, okay, we'll do it. And so some of the strategy there was to eliminate, reasons and get down to the real reason, which is always the price. So you just have to get to it. And then I tried to do kind of a takeaway, because I don't want people thinking that my offer is good today, tomorrow, the next day, And there's two things in life that motivate people. And number one is the desire for gain. And the only thing that has a little more gravitational pull than that is the fear of loss. So they were that close. I was right there and I was willing to do it. And if I walked, they weren't so sure what was going to happen next. So I think those are some of the reasons why they went ahead and did the deal with me. So that's kind of a long answer, but I think some of the value in these talks is to actually talk about real events and real conversations, so you can kind of get an understanding of, you know, how that actually goes down when you're with somebody. When you're just starting, what form of marketing is a good place to start? Driving for dollars is a good place to start. It's inexpensive. There's an app called Deal Machine, and you can drive around, look for visibly distressed properties, blue tarps on roof. When summer comes, houses that look like no one's cutting the grass, boarded up windows, garbage in the yard. Those are the kind of places you might want to identify. Bandit signs is another tried and true method. Check your local municipalities for the legality and the guidelines around doing those, but that's another inexpensive way. And cold calling. I mean, I don't know that anything gets less expensive than that. You have to get a list and you have to skip trace the numbers and all that, but that's doable. Horrible hair. Yeah, I realize. Thank you. List of items to take pictures. What does that mean? When I said have people take pictures, yeah, make sure they take pictures of the fuse box, the water heater, the furnace, the condenser, if it has air conditioning outside, the roof, the kitchen, and the bathroom. I mean, pictures of bedrooms are fine, but you want to look at the mechanicals if you can. How has the change of the real estate? Well, hold on, I got jumped ahead. Whether it's realistic to reach out to property owners who on foreclosure list in your area. Personally, I would say not today, because everyone's been given a 3-month reprieve, and people generally put their head in the sand and pretend they don't have a problem until they just can't avoid it any longer. And they just got word on the news that they can avoid it for at least another 3 months. So I don't know that, it's not that you can't find a deal that way, but that might not be the hottest spot to try these days. How has the change in the Real Estate Act changed our business? Well, I think overall it's brought a lot more credibility to what we're doing. And until we started the title company in 2017, I don't think I really had a gauge for how many contracts don't go anywhere. And remember, we're in a business where we're trying to help people. And when you're writing contracts, particularly someone has foreclosure, so you have somebody with a foreclosure, there's a boom coming, a doomsday. And when you tie up their property for 30 or 40 days and then can't move it to another buyer, not only have you not helped that seller, you haven't even left them in a neutral position. If anything, you've left them in a worse place than you found them. And, the number of contracts that people, no disrespect to anybody on the phone if this is you, but there's a lot of reckless cowboys running around with just enough information off of a couple YouTube videos, and they're not taking it seriously because they know they're not going to close it anyways. So all they really want to do is get a contract, and it's sometimes at any price with the prayer of getting rid of it. And if the numbers don't work, nobody's going to buy it. And then when selling to a cash buyer was plan A and that doesn't go well, who do you think plan B is? They end up calling a realtor, and then realtors are getting all these sob stories about how they thought they had their house sold and the deal blew up. So I think it's forced wholesalers to either get serious and get licensed or get out, frankly. So for our business, I don't see that there's been anything negative anyways as a result of it. If anything, it's a positive, because if Tommy would have said, well, I mean, if there's time, I'd be interested in listing it. Hey, guess what? We can help you with that too. I'm interested in where people get their information. Do you buy lists? Where do you get sellers, details, buyers, etc.? I'll let Hugo cover that towards the end. I flipped 2 properties, but want to learn about wholesaling, how to start. Being on calls like this, for sure. Getting involved in local RIA groups. Chicago RIA is probably the biggest and most active real estate investor network here in the city and suburbs anyways. That'd be a good place to go meet people. How do you pick a market that isn't local to you? Well, I mean, through a lot of research, and you want to look at markets and you want to see the percentage of cash transactions and zip codes where the action is happening. And a lot of those things can be reverse engineered through ListSource, which is one of the list providers. Sometimes we try to also look at the poverty level, just because if it's higher in certain areas, there might be more distress and more reasons for people to be selling. What about having a real estate license to wholesale deals in Illinois? I came in 10 minutes late. You might have covered this. I did not, but yeah, that's a great point, and I'm glad you brought that up. If you are looking to wholesale and you, by law, are able to, if you're going to do 2 or more transactions in a 12-month period, you're going to have to be licensed. I would say if you have not done a deal yet, do not go get licensed. If all your goal is to get licensed so you can be a wholesaler. And the reason I'm going to say that is because I want to keep it real. And it's been my observation over time that, and people, that I talk to in other markets and other investors I know, is that of all the people that raise their hand and say they'd like to be a wholesaler, the number is probably in the neighborhood of 95% that never actually do a deal, because it all sounds so easy. But I think we all can realize that nothing in life worth having is easy, and there's a lot of steps that seem easy, but that doesn't mean they're easy to do. So I would say, let's call it a proof of concept. Let's do some marketing. Let's talk to some sellers. Let's evaluate some opportunities. Let's get some contracts, and let's get somebody to buy one of them. And then when you've done all of that and you go, hey, you know what? I like this. I'd like to do more of this. Then maybe it'd be a good time to get licensed. That's just, my 2 cents. Would you prefer to talk to potentials by phone or a platform like this? I think by phone, because one of the things you're looking to do is rapid fire phone calls. And in order to do a call like this, that has to be set up in advance. So maybe on a second call, if you weren't going to be able to go to the house and you wanted to see the people that you're talking to, it might be a good idea. Frankly, I've never done it. And particularly when we're working in these other markets, a couple markets that we're in, I mean, it's amazing how many of these people don't even have like computers. I can't even send a contract DocuSign. We have to put it in the mail to them. A lot of times in these deals, we're working with older people and they're just not so tech savvy. So we try to keep it simple. We don't try to get too slick with people. Do you ever do short sale or only cash offers? So we don't do short sales ourselves. because short sales are typically listed properties, and there's nothing wrong with buying listed properties. But if you're looking to wholesale listed properties, that's kind of an advanced strategy in terms of how to do the contracts. And now you're dealing with banks, and you're dealing with brokers, and you're dealing with attorneys way sooner than you'd like to, particularly if you're new. So if you're new, I would say your best pathway to success is dealing directly with a homeowner, in my opinion. Again, the things I'm telling you aren't law. I'm just telling you my outlook and how we do things in our business. So seller, okay. How many deals are we doing now locally per month versus pre-COVID? So that's a great question. And I'm going to give an answer that's I'm going to be a politician, and I'm not going to exactly answer your question. And the reason I'm going to answer it this way is because many people ask it like you did. And I think that's a fair question, Valerie. But the reality is, in wholesale transactions, there's not a set fee. So it's not like, well, we do wholesale deals. I told you we got a wire from Alabama today. We made $5,000. We don't make $5,000 in every deal. A lot of deals we make considerably more. And so the notion of how many you're doing isn't really the measure of your business. The measure is how much are you making on these deals? Because all the deals have all the same steps. All the same things have to happen, and just the bigger deals, you make more money. So we try to spend our time looking for the deals that we think have potentially a little more meat on them. We're really not looking to spin our wheels and put properties under contract that we can make 1,500 or 2,000 on a good day. But I will tell you that the amount of phone calls coming in are definitely on the increase. So as we've gotten into this, more people are calling, more people want to explore this method. A lot of times, they're listed properties. They're not getting action, and they're looking for solutions. But the activity is picking up. We just picked up a contract today. We got a couple other ones on close. So, and frankly, again, full transparency, the Alabama deal, that's our first out of market deal that we completed. So we have a bunch of contracts, but we're finding our way. We're trying to find the right zip codes. We're trying to, find buyers to work with. So, we're kind of starting from scratch in a new market, and we're not there physically. So, we're kind of trying to figure it out as we go, to be honest with you. I'm a new real estate broker, can still do this as a real estate investor. Absolutely. Not only can you be, you have to be licensed. So this just adds one more arrow to your quiver, if you will. Some people don't make decisions on the spot, especially big ones. Sure. You can tell yourself that story, and you'll leave almost every house without a contract. What they need is a bridge. They have a reason, and they just need to come to the conclusion that they like you, that they trust you, and that you're the best option in selling their house. And I would say probably 90% of the time, I leave houses with contracts signed. I didn't come all the way over here for people to not want to take action. And the only reason they're not going to take action is if the price isn't right. Because if the price is right, there isn't any reason people won't sell you a house. So now the whole thing, and make no mistake, as a wholesaler and buying houses, it's a sales job. And we're there to sell them on the idea that we're their best solution, and we can get this deal done for them. So, but I mean, yeah, you're right. Some people, some will, some won't. Let me break it down like this. I can't quantify or verify the study, but I was told years ago in the world of door-to-door sales, people knocking on doors looking to sell stuff, is that the people that answering the door fall into three buckets. Some are going to buy no matter what it is you're selling because they're just those kind of people and they just can't say no. That's how I am when the Girl Scouts come knock on the door. You came all the way. You didn't stand out in front of Walgreens. You're actually walking the neighborhood, knocking on doors. That's hustle. I appreciate that. And I'm absolutely going to buy Girl Scout cookies. Now, not only am I going to buy the cookies, I'm going to put down that I want, 4 boxes, but I'm going to pay for 4, but I only want 2 because I know they're trying to raise money. And if I don't actually get the cookies, they'll make more money for the troop. So so that's what I do. But I don't know. I forgot what I was thinking about. I don't know. Family issues. Debbie, what does that mean? Do you have a microphone? And what does that mean?
Yeah, you were talking about 3 types of buyers.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Door to door.
Yep, got it. Yep, fear of missing out, exactly. I'm a realtor selling or buying properties for customers. I think to do the wholesale, like you said, you have to have some money to start. Yeah, I think you probably need some marketing money. And it's been a while since I've said this to anybody, but when I meet people at RIA meetings and at DealVault get-togethers, etc., and people come to me and express an interest in getting into wholesaling, I ask them this simple question. I say, in today's way, I got to ask the question a little differently than I might have years ago. But my question to you is, do you have a husband? Do you have a wife? Do you have a domestic partner? Do you have a civil union? Do you have any of those things going in your life right now? And if the answer is yes, then the next question is, on a scale of 1 to, on a 10-point scale, what's the level of support that you have from that other person in your desire to pursue this? And before you answer, let me tell you that if it's less than 15 on a 10-point scale, this probably isn't going to end well for you. To which they say, well, I don't understand. Why not? I say, well, listen, first of all, I think we all know that we have the least amount of credibility with the people that know us the best. So if you've ever told that other person in your life that you're going to start reading a book a month, or that you're going to lose 20 pounds, or you want to run a half marathon, or a litany of other things that you've proclaimed that you're going to do that have never done, this is just the newest thing that you're talking about that you're not actually going to do. So that you're starting off in a bad place to begin with. And secondly, to somebody's point about you got to have a little bit of money, absolutely. And so let's say you're going to do a very small sample size and you're going to spend $1,500 on some marketing. You're going to take some phone calls, and I promise you 1 of 3 things is going to happen. Either A, on a small sample size, there's legitimately no deals there, period. That's very real. The second thing that can happen is that there is a deal or a potential opportunity, but because you're new and because you don't really see it for what it might be or could be, it blows right by you, and you're not able to, you don't identify it, so you don't take any action on it. And then the third thing that can happen is that you do sense something that could be something. And after doing your research and going out and meeting with the seller and all that, you're unable to get a contract, or maybe you do get a contract, but it's not at the right price. So in the end, you're unable to, complete the deal. And in either one of those 3 scenarios, it ends with you not making any money. And that's where probably 75% of aspiring wholesalers throw in the towel, because this was supposed to be easy and it wasn't easy. So I'll go find something else to do. The ones with a little tenacity know that, hey, they say you got to do this stuff more than once, and I'm going to keep at it. So they throw another $1,500 at it. and the likelihood that you get the same result again is fairly high. And now you're $3,000 out of pocket and you haven't made any money yet. And that's about the time when that non-supportive person in your life is like, you know, Hugo, I can't believe you wasted $3,000 on this real estate bullshit. I mean, we could have went on a decent vacation with $3,000 and that kind of talk. And, you know, that's kind of the beginning of the end. So like a lot of things, start with the end in mind. And if you're going to get in this, then, you know, make yourself a deal and a promise that you're going to put your nose to the grindstone and you're going to do whatever you have to do until you do a deal. And then when you've got one completed, then you can evaluate what it took to get there, what you learned through the process, and then you can decide if this is something that you want to do more of. And if it is, then go get a license and you know, have fun with this.
Awesome.
In Chicago, who are the investor-friendly title companies? I don't know why there's an S on there. It's singular. Who's the investor-friendly title company? And that's Investor Title Service. Thanks for the tee up there, Leon. Yeah, we're out in Algonquin, but we do business all over the city and suburbs, and particularly in the market that we're in now, particularly if you are rehabbing houses and you're selling them on the backside, you need to wring every dollar of profit out of every area. And by working with us on your closings, we typically are going to save investors in the neighborhood of $1,000 to $1,500 per closing, because we are investors and we understand the game. And in business, when you do volume, you should get better pricing. And so we aggressively price things to serve the investor community. So we don't do much retail stuff. I mean, my brother-in-law sold a house in Evanston, so of course we're going to handle his closing, but that's not the business we're out working towards, and we work with a lot of investors. So when you work with us, you're gonna save money. We already answered that. Is there an easy source for contracts and other wholesale documents?
I can cover that. I can cover that. Then all the contracts.
You know, I'm more than happy to share my contract that I use. Shoot me an email, dan@reinvesthub.com, or what else? Can out-of-state investors do virtual deals in Chicago? Sure, if they're licensed. And how did we find a buyer for the Alabama deal? We, how did we do that? We, well, one of the things we did is we started scraping the Facebook pages down there and getting involved with that, you know, getting involved in those groups. Another great thing to do that people often don't do, and frankly, it's how I closed maybe the second deal I ever did, is I started calling realtors. A lot of realtors work with cash buyers and they work with investors. So, you know, the realtors aren't the enemy. They can be your friend. They can bring you buyers. Those are a couple of the ways anyways. Of course, there's a lot more. Any other questions?
I think, yeah, you did amazing, Dan. I want to thank you and Tommy for, you know, speaking today, sharing your knowledge, your wisdom. That was just incredible. So everyone, please give a big round of applause to Dan and Tommy. Thank you very much, Dan, for joining today. So what we're going to do next, friends, to be successful in wholesaling, you need three things. You need leads, you need contracts, and you need cash buyers. Okay, so that's what we're going to give you tonight, okay, for free. So I'm going to show you where we're going to get the leads. And as a bonus, we're going to give you our own proprietary CRM, okay? So in ChicagoDealVault, if you don't have access to ChicagoDealVault, we're going to give it to you for free today. So I'm going to quickly log in and show you the three components and where they are. So number one, you need leads, okay? So leads, we're gonna have them right here, off-market leads. And then I'm gonna add two bonuses. For those of you who don't have access to ChicagoDealVault yet, we're gonna give it to you for free for the next 30 days. But on top of that, actually, instead of one bonus, we're gonna give you two bonuses. we're going to do free skip tracing for you. Or if you're a Chicago Deal Vault member, we're going to do free. We now have a way to do bulk skip tracing. So we're going to give that for those of you who stay towards the end of the webinar. And we will also make our CRM available to you. So we're going to create a login for you. So the leads, number one, you need leads. So here are the off-market leads, like probates, pre-foreclosures, where you can find great potential sellers with high equity. Okay, so I'm filtering these, for instance, high equity, Cook County, people in pre-foreclosure. These are great leads that you can go after. So once you identify the leads in here, once you open up any lead, you're going to be able to reach out to the owner directly, because we are going to, for instance, this property, right? I just randomly opened one of them. We're going to give you the owner's contact information right here. When you click on the name, we're going to skip trace the owner on the fly. So we're going to give you their contact information as shown right here. So you can just pick up the phone and connect with the owner directly. So that's one thing that you need, leads. We're going to give you thousands and thousands of leads. Second thing that you need is contracts. Okay. So in here, we use Dan Clarton's contract right here. So when you click on make offer off market, this is a 2-page non-invasive contract that is already pre-populated for you with your signatures, initials. So this is what Dan Clarton currently uses. On top of that, we have under the wholesale tab, we have additional contracts that you can use for assignment, right? So right here, we have multiple contracts that you can download. So this is the second component that you need to successfully wholesale. And finally, the third component that you're gonna need is cash buyers. These are your target audience. So these are people who are used to paying cash for retail properties, like MLS properties. And we have them right here, cash buyers. So we have over 60,000, to be precise, 65,000 cash buyers, okay? You can filter them by county, by city, pretty much anything. And on top of that, when you click on the name of the cash buyer, we're gonna skip trace the cash buyer, right? So we're gonna give you all their contact information right here. So this is what we're gonna give you today. So we're gonna give you DealVault for free for the next 30 days. On top of that, we're gonna offer you our free skip tracing service. And as an additional bonus, we are going to give you access to our ChicagoDealVault CRM.com. Okay, so this is our proprietary CRM, which inside the CRM, we're going to be able to create your website. Again, that's all included. So this is, we're going to train you on the CRM. It's just incredible because this is where you can store your leads. This is just a quick peek of what the CRM looks like. Okay, so you can load your leads, reach out to them. This will even create some offers that you have available for you. Okay, when reaching out to sellers. So those three things we're going to give you tonight. So the way to sign up, if you have not yet signed up, I'm going to send you the link. You can either scroll down to the sign up page or just click on the pricing tables, get started. So I'm going to give you the, I'm going to send it via the chat. So this is the link for everyone to sign up. Just fill this out. Two things. We're going to give you a promo code and then a package. Make sure that for the package, you select special Chicago DealVault. Okay, and for the promo code is Dan. It could be uppercase, lowercase. So once you fill this out, you're going to have immediate access to DealVault, and on top of that, we're going to give you as a bonus two things. Okay, we're going to give you access to our CRM. Okay, and free skip tracing for the next 30 days. Okay, so if you need, skip tracing is just a way to get anybody's contact information. So we're gonna give you that for free for the next 30 days. If you decide to stay with DealVault, you're going to be locked in at the promotional rate of $140 per month. Should you decide to do the yearly membership, we're going to lock you in at the $120 per month. This is billed yearly, okay? But for now, don't worry about that. Sign up if you don't have access. We're going to give it to you for free. Not only that, we're going to do training, unlimited training, one-on-one, okay? One-on-one. As many trainings as you need via webinar. We just want to make sure that there's nothing on standing on the way for your success. We want to make sure that you are successful today by giving you access to all the resources, the training. Talking about training, make sure you send a text to 818, and then the keyword DealVault, okay? That is for you to download our app. So you're gonna get a response with a link to either the Apple Store or the Google Play Store for you to download ChicagoDealVault app. That is just comprehensive training that is categorized in a sequential way for you to have everything that you need, okay? I wanna make sure that you have everything.